All right, welcome to the party, pals. GRC Mafia. Thank you for everybody starting to hop in here. I see Cam and Chris also hopping in already. We got B-dubs. Bam. I'm going to go ahead and drop the stage link right now because this is our 1 hour AMA open stage just to socialize and network together. So I'm going to fly through this introduction, and then if you guys want to come up or just chit chat through the chat itself, that's perfectly fine as well. Otherwise, I have plenty of different topics I could bring up as well. So we're all here to break down barriers, foster collaboration, community, working towards a more secure future together. This is definitely a learning and growing environment. We have the hands-on GRC on Mondays and Tuesdays. Next month is going to be absolutely fire with all kinds of different policies that we're going to be going through and building. Wednesday is our GRC Let's Get Technical. Thursday is our primary meeting. The first 2 Thursdays of every month, we have speakers. The middle of the month is the open discussion, which is what we had last night, which was, I mean, there was like 15 different things that we talked about, got a bunch of different perspectives and great stuff. And then, of course, today, our AMA open stage every Friday at 11 Central. Now, if you do come up, you do not have to turn on your video. You could just turn on your microphone if you'd prefer. You could drop questions in chat or come up on stage. You can drop those chat questions or otherwise on any of the platforms we stream to. If you would like to share your social media profiles, the best place to do that is on Discord. So you hop into Discord, head on over to our live chat, and then it'll relay that to all of the different platforms as well. Definitely share resources, ask questions. What are you guys up to? What are your wins this week? We've made it to Friday, so there's that. And then also, if you do share something you don't want to be public, just let me know on Discord or LinkedIn, or you can also contact me at contact@studygrc.org as well. Also, we have our website here that I'm dropping in chat too. That's where you can find the rest of our platforms. You can also catch up the calendar and the resources page as well. One of the things I might actually cover today is there's been some development with the resource page. I've been talking to a couple people about that, and we might be doing something pretty interesting with that. Don't forget to catch B-dubs, not only every single Monday with the blog for BritWhite.io, but then also tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central Time is the CISSP study group. Flying on into domain 2 already on the CISSP. Bam. And then also I have these notes up here in the top right, of course, because I'm horrible at, pushing anything whatsoever. But we do have that donation. That's an option, but then also the giveaway. So the giveaway does get drawn next Thursday. So if you haven't collected it already, you literally just hop into our Discord server, head on over to giveaways, and then click participate. That's it. And then Thursday, when our meeting starts, the bot automatically draws the winner. And that is this month. We do a different one every single month that's sponsored by cyber.com. And I'll drop them in chat too. I've talked about them a few times. Let's see. But they focus on AWS security, but they are sponsoring our monthly giveaways. GRC Mafia, Space Tacos, Regine, Rania, bam. Jeffrey's popping in. And then, so yeah, don't miss out on the giveaway itself. That's April 10th and 11th. I don't believe the recordings are available after the fact. That's something we have to confirm. But I'm personally attending that as well. All kinds of awesome stuff that they're going to have there. And then let me go ahead and transition on over here. Bam. And then I'm going to go ahead and drop the stage link one more time if anybody would like to come up or otherwise. And then let's see. Bam. Yeah, Regine, thank God it's Friday. Bam. 1 week gone. Let's see. All right, so you got a topic, B-dubs? Or are you just
checking
excited
out
for your
that camera at the moment? It's a little fuzzy.
Hey, good thing Restream now has a fancy avatar.
Yeah, right? That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. So that was one of the recent updates with Restream, which is the service that we use. You might have to change your resolution on it, maybe.
No, it's the camera. It likes to do this to me. I'll be right back.
Figure. Welcome to the party, pal, Josh. So if you guys have any questions or otherwise, definitely drop those in chat and so forth. Or if you guys have any other awesome resources. One thing I did want to pull up, I'll definitely talk about what plans are also scheduled for the resources as well. We have a couple other things that are also on the back burner right now that it's going to get knocked out first, but I think we found an option for the resources. Doesn't look much better.
No, it's not. It doesn't like me today.
But so Chris Hilgado, is that right?
Hidalgo.
Hidalgo. Jesus.
One day you'll get it.
He shared a really awesome course that a bunch of people were saying is pretty awesome. And he is like the local, ISO fanboy, I think is the
ISO
best.
Fanboy.
Yeah, ISO fanboy is the nicest way I can phrase it at this time. So Mastermind, I don't really know that much about them, but there has been all kinds of chatter in the space about this particular course here, which is their lead auditor 27001. So a bunch of different people, many of you guys have gone through it already. I wanted to throw this out there just because I've only heard great things, and it's 100% free. So 7 chapters, 34 lessons. So I find this is going to probably be a pretty good go-to source to jump down that rabbit hole. I'm going to drop that in chat. Is it focusing G on your mic stand?
I don't know. Probably. I gave up.
Yeah, and thanks for hopping in, AB Showtime. Yeah, and also like Josh states that they're going through it as we speak. Yeah, I definitely wanted to throw this out there because I mean it's 100% free. It doesn't cost you a dime, and there's a lot of awesome stuff that's in this. So I am much more on the NIST side and fanboy, but this looks like they go through the basics, like what is the history of ISO and accreditation versus certification, some of the basics, foundations, and then they actually start talking about like the implementation. What do you do after the fact? So some great information that's thrown in there. Oh, and then we got him coming up to come defend it.
Oh.
Go ahead.
I guess we can't both click it at once.
Exactly.
My bad.
What's hilarious?
Help.
Yeah. What's hilarious was I was busy getting my lights fixed, and somehow I just had a sneaking suspicion as soon as I jump on stage it was going to be ISO related. So.
Oh, of course,
Yeah.
It has to be.
So. Well, we've talked about NIST enough this week. I feel like gotta make a little space for ISO, I guess.
Yes.
Is that possible?
We can make a little space when it's free. Yeah. Facts.
So my understanding with this is that this is a good resource for somebody who is interested in learning more. Like this is a good first step, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Just like I tried to get it broken down in the Discord with Advisor. This is really that first step to show, hey, I've gone through a formal training with the certification body. This doesn't quite say, hey, I'm a lead auditor, assign me as a lead auditor, but it's that first step showing competency. And then say you work through a certified body, so like an audit firm. Typically they ask for you to be a lead on the team that you have to conduct 3 full ISMS audits. So this is that just kind of first step.
Bam.
Yep.
Well, and I'm going to pop this up here too, because you presented for the beginner's guide for ISO 27001 too. So not only do we have this video here, but there's also a starter guide too, which we're going to have to add that course into. But definitely check that out. So a 20-minute presentation right here where Chris over here, which sounds weird because both of our names is Chris, but 27001. And this is a really great presentation where he walks through like how you can kind of get started with it. And you even presented this at a conference too.
Yeah. At B-Sides Austin, I got to officially meet B-Dubs there. So that was a lot of fun. Honestly, I wish my ISO beginners course was as polished as this lead auditor one, but he's also been working as an external auditor for probably years at this point.
So, yeah.
It's awesome though. I need to add that to the guide
Yeah, and this takes a lot of time. So yeah, to get everything weeded out and actually figure out like the outlines and so forth. Yeah. Building a course isn't easy.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know how long that's going to be free. There's been kind of like LinkedIn influencers mentioning like, hey, it's free for a limited time. So I would jump on it as soon as you can. I know that seems very
Well, let's stop
uh
the screen share. I'm going to go ahead
yeah.
and enroll right this moment. Bam, bam. Well, here it's literally free, so it's not asking for anything too bad. So you could see my email, my name, sign up, bam, account created. Oh yeah, I'm not showing the password, that's for sure.
No,
But bam, see,
not?
I just signed up. I'm grabbing that before it's not free anymore. Make sure you're well caffeinated. It's not super interactive. I think that's with a lot of the different material that's out there though too. I'm not I'm not a huge fan of like pushing through content, but you probably would have a higher retention if you stretched it out over several weeks. Like I think that course right there is like about what, 6 or 7 hours in length.
Yeah, it's like 6 to 8 hours. So
Yeah. So doing it in a single day probably isn't hugely advisable. One of the things I'm actually working through right now is what is that? Just hack training with John Hammond. So
Just hacking training.
Yeah, so he put together a course on dark web. So how to like stay anonymous and do it safely is basically the gist of that, along with like what the dark web actually is. It's really good so far, but that's another one where the whole course itself is probably 6 hours of content, but it's a lot of information. So I'm trying to slowly, try to pace myself with it. I'm going to go ahead and set up this account real quick before I lose my spot here. Everybody else in chat's probably flowing in there. They're going to be like, oh, we reached our 500 people or whatever. Sorry. Bam, I got access to it now. Beat you. You got it too, B-dubs?
I will.
I can see you typing over there.
Yeah.
It's really good in terms of getting the into the auditor's mindset. Cam says, feels like cheating on NIST, but it looks awesome and incredibly beneficial. Well, and like we've talked about it before too, like I think Aaron Lounge is the first person I heard it from on how ISO really complements NIST. So, and that seems to be way more common now, like overseas, like Australia, for an example, they've always been ISO for the most part, but they're actually implementing CSF 2.0 alongside now too. I think we're going to see more of that, huh?
Yeah, and there's, not to spoil a part of the course, but there's an interesting story of some of the move towards ISO around 2010. So think about what happened around that time and how there was just kind of a general like mistrust of US based frameworks. I think that's kind of blown over. I can't really speak to it, but it was interesting. He brought that up as a story point, and I was like, I'm putting that in my bag of ISO ISO history. So
right. Oh, we got PBO hopping in chat too, and 8-bit. Bam! Welcome to the party, pals. I'm gonna drop that stage link too if you guys want to come up. Everybody's welcome. You do not have to turn on your video. Hopefully PBO's course is coming out. Making progress on that aspect. Yeah.
I mean, it's coming out April 4th, right? So
hopefully. It's probably going to be April 1st.
I mean, that'd be a funny joke, but
yeah, 4 years in the making.
No, I think I saw a post yesterday from Jerry announcing April 4th. So
yeah,
it's out there public.
Hey, 8-bit says that he will think about it. I'm moving away from Obsidian now. I started using Notion again. It's got Notion AI in it.
Wow. What made you do that?
Better team collaboration aspects.
I mean, I love Notion, so.
But hey, at least it's not, what is it? Microsoft Notes or whatever.
OneNote?
Yeah, at least it's not OneNote. I mean.
Or Notepad? Like,
I mean,
paper,
hey, Notepad's
notepad?
better than OneNote.
A paper notepad? I mean, you can search OneNote, right? So.
I mean, still, but I could also use Notion to search, or just AI to search at this point.
Uh-oh.
Blasphemy.
Yeah. 8-Bit's upset with you.
I see CyberCycle also popping in as well. So one of the other things that I wanted to mention too is like somebody had recommended start.me. You guys are probably familiar with it. I'm gonna actually pull up an example of it here in a moment. So let's see here. The hardest part with bookmarks is trying to find everything. Organization is a horrible time-consuming task.
I was just about to mention that when you mentioned you ditched Obsidian. I'm still diehard Obsidian, but I discovered Zotero.
What is it called?
Zotero, Zotero.
You should drop it in private chat. I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I just found that out. It's a little more academic based, but it's bookmarks on steroids. It's great.
That sounds interesting. Oh,
Uh-oh.
it's PBO. All right, I was worried 8-Bit was going to come throw punches.
Well,
so
we have Brexy over here saying we don't know what we're missing when not using Notepad. I guess I don't understand what I'm missing because I feel like I'm missing nothing.
Yeah, one of our previous, I think it was the AMA open stage where we were talking about the notepads and note taking and so forth. I'm still using Obsidian. I'm still going to continue to use it for some of the private notes and so forth. However, Obsidian or Notion has made some advances, and if Obsidian was better for collaboration, I would do that. But unfortunately, especially with Study GRC being so collaborative, it's just not as easy to work with people, and it's way easier to use something like Notion than it is a Google Doc, for an example. Like for an example, those videos, we're gonna make a public release page for it. So I'm putting all of the different YouTube videos for Study GRC with transcriptions, the actual transcripts for each video as well, into a database on Notion. And so with our accounts, we have Notion AI, which allows us to actually search that entire archive. You'd be able to search through it and everything else as well. So there's definitely some big advantages to that. So then I could just type in HIPAA and it pops up every time we referenced it for the most part. So there's a lot of advantages that just isn't possible with Obsidian. Yeah, and I'll pull those up here in a moment. So like this right here is a really awesome resource that I have bookmarked. This is for DFIR. So DFIR for like digital forensics.
Oh.
And this is an amazing resource for that. Whenever somebody mentions that, this is one of the first resources I throw out there because they have all kinds of awesome stuff. I just dropped a link to this if you want to check it out. I'm zooming in a little bit, but so you can see, I kind of feel like the page style is a little bit outdated to an extent, but it's very straightforward. So we have like different social media up here. We have support stuff. We have a QR code even. Like it's got a QR code. That's legit. Come on. Getting started in DFIR, toolkits, mobile.
Who doesn't love QR codes?
Yeah, exactly. So like on the left-hand side here, you could see, forensic tool, mobile tools, network, cloud tools, Cypher, decoding tools. And so now imagine if we had something like this that was community driven by everybody out there for GRC. So we could have, all kinds of different tools that are in here, start actually making a catalog of the different services that are out there for different purposes. We could have the people that are out there in the GRC space. We could have videos and a walkthrough and everybody in the space. So there's a lot of stuff we could add on here. We could have a whole category here for just NIST documents. So I think this would be a pretty interesting resource, because one of the struggle points I've mentioned recently too is our existing resources page. We have maybe 50 things or so on there, but it's just bulletin list. And I have over 2,000 bookmarks, probably like 3,000 at this point now.
Right.
And we need to find a better option to put these resources into. So outside of a spreadsheet, this is the next best option I've found.
Shout out to Space Tacos.
PBO is probably going to say project, Microsoft projects or something like that.
Planner.
That's what it was.
I just do stuff that's in corporate, man. I don't like to deviate from my corporate. Shout out to Space Tacos. That QR code did look a little sketchy.
Is there a QR code that doesn't look sketchy?
I'm not scanning them.
Hey, but you can go ahead and join our Discord by scanning this code up in the top left.
Wow, I can't ever find anything in the damn Discord. You gotta send me some every other day. I'm old. Like I didn't see it, Chris. My bad.
Come on, PBO. Come on.
I'm
gonna start.
Yeah, if you guys have ideas for that too, let me know.
I'm gonna start @ing PBO more often now.
No, I'll show up if I can find it. Remember we talked about that. Remember I jumped in a voice chat and when nobody in there, I was like, oh, what happened? Everybody left. I'm late.
We played a trick on you, PBO.
Man, I feel old.
I know how to get you in voice chat now.
I'll be trying.
I'll @ you and then delete it so you're confused.
Just DM me and tell me to show up. That's what people get me.
This really reminds me of Obsidian.
Well, and I do have an update. B-Dubs has now signed up for that ISO lead auditor course while it's free.
Bam.
Yeah.
Chris is over here like, finally, we're stealing them away from NIST.
No, it's free. It's free. That's how it got me.
And the more people I can get to like talk about it, the better. So,
well, like you said, yeah. I think they're becoming more compliments. So yeah, I'm almost bought in. Chris almost got me bought in. Almost. I'm leaning towards and I'm leaning.
Hey, PBO, it's literally a day course. Come on.
Man,
I was learning more about ISO yesterday and the common criteria and whatnot. So may as well take a course.
I'm trying to finish my course. Yeah.
Technical and like organizational measure kind of things like that.
Yeah, it's the common criteria is a way to measure like tools and products so that consumers can compare them with without the bias, because the salesperson is always going to say that their firewall is the best on the market. But it can kind of compare what your organizational needs are in a non-biased way.
I'm not gonna name names, but you may have heard of somebody saying, "Oh, my service would have prevented that breach. Oh, my service would have stopped that."
Yeah, right.
Well, I've been in
names, but
I've been in plenty of meetings already where it's like we're looking for tools, and so we're talking to the company, comparing different ones. In every meeting, it's this will meet all of your needs perfectly. But they usually don't. We
also have the pain calling us out, QR codes and all.
Welcome
to the party, pal. And then also Zach hopping in, GRC Mafia, Team SC.
Yeah, shout out to Space Tacos. I need to work on my active voice.
Oh yeah, I think PBO does need a QR code for his YouTube channel, actually.
Facts.
I mean, PBO is going to need a QR code for his new course.
That's true.
That is Dr. O's course. We're collabing.
It's still your course.
I mean, I retain full ownership.
If you don't make one, we can make a QR code for you.
We'll talk about it. It seems so sketchy.
Sketchy's fun.
Or the QR code?
Both of those.
Both.
Oh, here you go. You now have a QR code for your YouTube channel.
There you go.
Go ahead and scan that QR code to go over to PBO's YouTube channel and drop him a follow or a subscribe.
Follow. That would be YouTube. Subscribe.
Yeah, give me a sub. I gotta get my subs game up so I can get back monetized like y'all. YouTube been hating on me. They took away my monetization.
Well, come on. You just got to start streaming 4 days a week again. You got this. I want to see some of those AWS labs. Maybe I'll pop that open.
That almost killed me. Yep, I think I got a good one coming up Wednesday. I think you'll like it. Doing Security Hub, NIST 800-53 gonna show some findings in there.
Hey, 8-bit's with us. QR
Eight
code, all the things.
Boo.
PBO gonna be throwing punches.
Space tacos too. So lesson of the day, learn to write, audit, in active voice. If you're not familiar with that technique, I'll be posting more details in the treasure trove. And yeah, if you didn't know, you can do ! Tacos. And then that not only drops Space Taco's website, but then also a link to her Discord as well, which is an archive of GRC resources.
I'll have to check that out, Space Tacos, because I'm working on technical writing for GRC as a practice talk, and report writing, active voice. A lot of that was, I got that feedback one time writing a report, and I was like, it's been a while since I've read Strunk and White. I don't even remember how to write an active voice, so I'm definitely mentioning that. So
Chris is better than me. I've just given up all of that. I'll leave that to the executives. I give data. I don't write reports. I give data, so I don't even try.
Yeah, like grammar and stuff just went out after school. So
yeah, we're gonna have to share some QR service, so that way every link that we send to PBO is now in QR format.
Yeah.
I am not happy. Chris got his team in there.
I'm not happy.
The Payne's talking about they did ISO first. Josh said they did ISO first. How are you in the United States doing ISO first? I'm trying to figure out what's going on with our chat.
That was going to be one of my questions, actually, is how well does ISO actually work with cloud? Because that's like a big talking point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they actually came out with separate standards to complement the 2013 ISO 27001. They've integrated it now in the 2022 revision, but 27017 and 27018 are specifically about cloud. One's about the information security side of cloud services. The other one's about the privacy side.
So is that a additional add-on accreditation after you get the 001?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not standalone accreditations, but they're not standalone, but they can balance on, or they advise on areas of the base security program.
Which I could at least understand that, because you have, what you have on site, and then you also have your cloud environment as well. So
yeah, but we FedRAMP approved. We official in this. We FedRAMP approved. We got CP3 PAOs. They charge a shitload of money. Give the money sign, Chris. That's Booz Allen, those guys. They charge. I
was gonna say, if you already got that, then you just got to pay a few tens of thousands of dollars for your ISO. You're good to go.
Oh no, FedRAMP is just going. They're gonna double dip on that. I'm sure probably most of the 3PLs are doing ISO too, because most of those are actually global companies, so they're probably doing both.
Yeah.
But I thought StateRAMP changed to GovRAMP, so it'd be interesting.
Yeah, so StateRAMP changed over to changing their name over to Government Ramp or GovRAMP, which is literally just because the government doesn't just because of the name, the government doesn't want to use it, which I find kind of hilarious.
But that confuses me a little bit, because I thought they were specializing in on state agencies that didn't have federal requirements, because all the smaller state agencies have very little security. So are they in competition with FedRAMP now? I mean, so that kind of threw me off with that, because their big thing was, we're gonna have we're gonna have the smaller agencies. The states are struggling. Now, are you in competition with FedRAMP?
But isn't FedRAMP particularly just for the cloud though? StateRAMP's not.
True. You could do them both though. You can actually do StateRAMP in the cloud, because it's 3PL. So I'm not sure if they're approving you for cloud. So, and I guess for me that's probably an excellent question, because for me FedRAMP and NIST are the same thing. So I do them on-prem like I do them in the cloud. But like you're right, there's no official body for your on-prem stuff.
Look at this. Chris is over here dropping ISO for cloud now, trying to throw FedRAMP out.
Sorry.
Wasn't FedRAMP designed for the cloud though?
It was.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But it's the same 20 security
Yeah.
family. So for me, I do them on-prem in the cloud, on the
Yeah.
phone, in Europe. No, I'm just playing.
Now, would it be
I'm getting a little
safe to
carried
say
away.
that they took the 53 and then they just rephrased it to apply more to the cloud? Is that pretty much what it breaks down to?
For FedRAMP, now they did a few adjustments for the cloud because they got actually with the major cloud vendors, the cloud service providers, and they actually, made it work for Azure Cloud, Azure, AWS, and all those. So, once again, because you don't have to go review those clouds anymore, because once you get your ATO, they give you their package that said it's FedRAMP approved. So.
Yeah, I got my certifications mixed up. 27,017 and 18 have a separate certification. So in that right corner, you can look at AWS's certification. They got it from EY. But you can get certified in those two in addition to 27,001. So
is all this big CSPs already certified?
Some of most of the big platforms.
Yeah,
probably have it.
Yeah, that's one reason I like those, because if they got every certification on the planet, so if they're trying to get any government or Europe type work.
But this is from 2015. I mean, times change.
No. 2022.
I don't know if I want to talk about time, though, considering the dates on NIST docs, because that's probably what
facts.
Chris is doing now. He's like, oh, well, in that case.
No, facts. But FedRAMP is, that's one thing. AWS and the big cloud, they want all federal money, so they got every certificate. They got ITAR. I was looking up something like they can move guns, and they got everything. ISO, ITAR, some stuff I've never even heard of. They got certifications on. So,
I mean, that's where the money's at. So you follow the money.
Facts, man. Fed work.
Straight cash, homie.
Yeah, and Space Tacos needs more technical writing info as well.
Yeah, that's a big topic, Space Tacos. And then like you get in the workspace and it's expected, and then it catches you off guard because you're like, I'm used to writing in this way, and you work with engineers, different levels of executive leadership, and that's just the way they talk. So
I guess I'm lucky because when I did government work, we were on a big team, so we had special technical writers. So they would write all that stuff, and they were like, just put it in a format and I'll smooth it out. So that made me lazy. I just kind of compiled it, gave my poor executive summary, and then once they rewrote it, I was like, oh wow, I sound super good.
Super polished.
Yeah, I didn't know I was that talented. But so, yeah, especially the big firms like EY, they got a whole team of, they call it the gold team because they bid on stuff and RFPs. They just write all day, man. So they have that just kind of embedded in their team.
Yeah.
And so
Chris, sorry, Chris, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, so you're over here pushing ISO so much. I was going to ask you, just to save me some time. So when you go through and you purchase these documents, this is the only way you can actually get your hands on the official documentation, is my understanding.
Right. Yes.
And, like if you were to buy this one here, or you were to get the 27001 or otherwise, that includes more than just the tools and more than just the controls, right? That includes implementation and so forth.
That is for like basically the PDF document. So you get 27001 that has the normative references, like the requirements of your system. Then you get 27002, which is the guidance on how to implement those. You have to buy separate documents, but it's really just a PDF, and it explains how you would go about implementing those. Earlier on that 27,017, you mentioned that 2015. So they go through a like 5 to 10. Well, they do a review every 5 years, and they decide whether or not a new version needs to be in place. So we've reached that time now. So 2025, it looks like they're working on the newest revision of 27017. So
do you want to know? So the one that I really, really want is the 31K for the risk management. That's actually the one that I really want to dig into, to be honest with you.
I have no idea what the currency that is, B-dubs. It shows up every time and it'll convert it to USD, but that is like the default.
I I was over here trying to figure out where Chris was at on his VPN.
Oh
right,
yeah,
right.
it's in francs or something. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so like this one that I have up on the screen right now, 516, that comes out to $584.
yeah, yeah.
USD?
But this
Good
is
pricing.
for the risk management basics, so it's a bundle kit for all three of these for the 31K.
Not
Yeah,
bad.
that's
But
the
584
$31,000.
bucks.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
What?
Is it? Not bad.
NIST is free.
NIST is free.
I mean, we got the 837 right, 37 and 39 right here.
Hey, but yeah.
I mean, it's just pocket change if you're an organization, I guess. But yeah, NIST is free.
Yeah, and then we have a couple really good questions here. But first of all, I wanted to pull this one up from Brexy. So the PEBC course.
Yeah.
Chris?
Oh, the PECB course is, I'm not quite sure on that LI at the end. PECB course, I took that originally. It's good, but money, because we got it through our certification body to get a discount. But I looked at the list prices and I was like, whew, okay, never mind. So, and I've also taken it through our Advisora, which offers it for free but charges for the exam. So that's why I've been really pushing that Mastermind, because you can go through the course, take the exam, and it's free. Like PECB, it costs. And right now I just have a test score, because applying for their certifications does have kind of an experience requirement, but also a price tag. To like, they have provisional, auditor, lead auditor, and each of those has their own separate price tag. So I was like, I think I'll wait for now. But
All right.
Yeah, I think that LI may have been lead implementer. Looking at this.
okay, lead implementer.
Yeah, not LinkedIn, Josh, but that's a good effort.
I took the lead auditor one. I'm not too familiar with the lead implementer courses, but you could test it out through Advisora. They offered that one for free. But yeah, that you see those price tags there. It's kind of cost prohibitive. So
Chris,
well, exactly. And so I did look around at this a little bit before, and so GRC Academy joined us last night. And so, you know, he's a decent dude. I like him and so forth. I love his podcast too. I'm not pushing anybody towards certification for ISO, especially if you're starting out. However, I did look around before, and a lot of these prices were lower than what I saw the competition doing. So definitely do your research if you are going to drop this kind of money. But yeah,
you should undercut him, Chris. Be the Walmart of ISO certification.
You can only undercut so much, PBO.
Go hard.
Walmart. Walmart ISO.
Put pressure on him.
I mean, we could just be the Goodwill, right?
I didn't want to go that far, B. That's what I'm trying to do is a NIST. I want to be the Walmart and NIST. Just put pressure on people.
Yeah, we had that meme that was up about, you know, making standards last night on, you know, oh, we have 14 standards, you know, to compete with. Well, you know, let's just make one that is all of them together. And then, oh, now we have 15 competing standards.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And welcome to the party, pal, AMK. I also see you just grabbed a membership too. So GRC Mafia.
Shout out to Cam. Cam got it.
Yeah.
I'll wait for you to get to the question.
We have a couple different things lined up here too, but yeah, definitely do your research on that aspect. It is not cheap. And then there's also like experience requirements, because this is the training, and then you have to do the exam, which also has like experience requirements too, is my understanding.
I mean, do the free stuff first. That Mastermind one is free.
100%.
And they're a certification body too, so it's like they're accredited to hand those out. So yeah, the PECB is a big name, but I can't get over that cost. So
right.
What's the job market like for ISO, Chris? I guess I'm always looking for NIST. I very rarely look for ISO. So.
Yeah, I see it a lot right now, just in my own job search. Okay. So CBs certifying bodies are offering it. Like, you'll see them ask for like ISO, like associate auditor. So like external side, a lot of them just tend to bundle it up. So I'm looking at GRC analyst positions, and they'll say like, "Hey, familiar with control frameworks?
Yeah,
NIST, ISO,
they do.
PCI." Just kind of throw it all together. I've been trying to leverage that I've been focused on ISO, but then have branched back into the NIST because I did that with financial institutions. So
come back over, Chris. We need you on our team. Come back. We need you.
Welcome to the
doesn't
dark
hurt to have
side.
both.
I like
and
that.
you don't want
B-dubs.
to limit your options too by being so focused on one thing, especially when you're looking for work.
Yeah,
Right?
for
I
sure.
don't know. I disagree a little bit, but I see.
Well, when you're PBO, it's different.
I always tell people when football team, the specialized people get paid, I'm a wide receiver, even though I'm fat. I want that wide receiver. And I don't play nice with others. I'm way out by the sideline by myself. My Deion Sanders, I'm out there on the island by myself. So.
Yeah, and so real quick, like Brexy also mentions that they completed that Mastermind course as well. I believe you responded in the Discord server that it was a positive review as well, Brexy. And then I was going to ask PBO here, did you want to drop your 5,000 different resources for FedRAMP?
Yeah, I could go to FedRAMP.gov, StateRAMP.gov. Like Chris said, they got a few. They got a ton of templates out there. I'm a gloss myself. In my course, I do have a section on FedRAMP, and I'm gonna drop all the templates from FedRAMP.gov, and we're gonna do some exercise to help you build a portfolio. You probably want to wait till the version 2 comes out. I got that a little bit in version 1, so that's one of the things. Because for me, it's NIST 800-53 in the cloud, so I do have a big section on that. So I kind of want to. I am going to walk through. Going through an assessment in the cloud for FedRAMP certification, course in AWS. So,
yeah, and then also surprisingly, we also have Chris over here rooting for some of these materials from NIST here. So I would see this as a good starting point as well, even if you're looking at FedRAMP or StateRAMP, because this goes into the RMF intro courses and breaks that down, including it. So like the first one is 2 hours, and then I believe the next one, 3 hours for the first introduction to the risk management framework. But this will definitely help quite a bit. But yeah, like PBO was saying, those resources are on their page. We could actually probably do a breakdown in the Discord server afterwards too. Something I like is like there was a question about high trust, and then there was a question about HIPAA. And so we're slowly just gathering those resources in the Discord server.
And like Chris said, when you look for a general GRC job, they usually have, like you said, NIST, ISO, and a lot of them talk about HIPAA and high trust in there. I think a lot of those are kind of medium-sized consulting firms. So I think they're trying to hit all the bigger compliances, which I would say is probably 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Welcome
to the party, pal, SC Cole.
What I really like about those courses too is the 853. It covers A and B, and it will talk about going through the audit process with those. And that was new to me. And I'll give NIST credit because there are some controls that I was like, yeah, those should be separate. Thanks, because ISO rolls them all up into like one Annex A control, and I was like, no, like internal access should be separate from third-party access as a control set, because you feel like you're evaluating everything at once when you try to manually split it. So
that's the good and bad thing about NIST is they're detailed, but man, when you go to special publications, it's like 100 documents out there. So trying to get the right one to fit the right assessments and trying to get the customization and overlay correctly. Sometimes they give you too many choices, but
yeah, and I dropped those resources in there too for FedRAMP and StateRAMP. I also just double checked, and they do not currently have govramp.gov yet. Do they have govramp.org?
Shout out to StateRAMP because they use the STIGs, which I think is a very hard implementation for hardening, but that's my favorite one. So I was surprised when they went that route.
But PBO loves those STIGs.
Oh, they do have govramp.org, by the way.
Okay.
They have it reserved, but there's nothing on it yet, so we'll see.
I used to work for that company. that started it. See,
They have to be honest with you, they have a beautiful website.
they do.
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised. You don't see that as often in the space. So you can see this StateRAMP website right here. Like, it is very straightforward. They have it very well organized. Bam.
Yeah, I didn't know if they were helping the community or if it was a money grab. I still haven't made up my mind totally yet.
Yeah, because you see the same thing just like with a lot of these other, like ISO and high trust and so forth, where you still have to drop that money in. But yeah.
I think they're in cahoots with the 3PAOs.
But come on, they're a 501c6 nonprofit membership organization.
Yeah, but you know, some of them nonprofit organizations be making millions of dollars, and your 10% admin fee can be pretty big, man, when you're talking about every state adopting it.
Yeah, the secret there is that they're a membership organization, so that's equivalent to a union, and they get a lot of the benefits, but yeah, they could still turn a profit.
Oh, they're making big money.
That's actually a really interesting deep dive. If you ever get bored, is look at all the different types of 501 through the IRS website.
I'm straight profit, homie.
Oh, I just typed in open state for some reason. At open state of, you know, our AMA open stage. Open stage.
Open stage?
Yeah, open stage is what I meant.
Should I say open stage?
Job hunting tip. There are a few alternative job titles for GRC analyst in the treasure trove. Also some ideas on industries to search in. So I recently went through and archived a whole ton of them. I ended up pinning that in our GRC discussions. So there's like well over 60. I mean, there's probably 50 of them there, maybe 30 of them there. Quite a few of them. I can't pull it up.
The key is there's not really a job title for GRC analyst. Gotta look at that job description because it varies so much company to company. And then even within a company, you can have a bunch of analysts that all have the same title, but some are more engineering and technical, whereas others are on the actual GRC side. So, you know, information security, cybersecurity analyst, none of that means anything to me until I see the job description.
That's what I do. I just search for NIST, and it brings me up all the jobs. I do. I go to Indeed.
Well,
NIST,
I mean,
NIST 800 to be exact.
There's still some like pen testing and whatnot.
I'm not doing.
Yeah, but the job description wants you to be familiar with NIST, even for pen testing.
Oh,
so what I'm saying is like you can't just even search for NIST.
No, but NIST gets me to the job title. Like you got to read it. You write like, okay, I'm not pen testing, or I'm not.
Right.
I kind of stay away from the engineering stuff, even though I think I might get back into it. Like cloud engineer, I'm not doing that.
I mean, you could search the job descriptions on the word audit, maybe.
Yeah.
No, because then they start bringing up CPA stuff.
Well, you have to filter and refine to, you know, within cybersecurity or information security. Come on, PBO.
NIST.
Use some Google Foo.
NIST.
Well, and that's like one of the hardest parts is the fact that there's no standardization. So like an IT auditor role could be completely different from one company to the next, or even at the same damn company.
Well, but for me,
insane.
You're right, but if it says auditor role and it's ISO, PBO is not doing that. I'm not going to even apply.
You know, you should just use everything but ISO.
See, I'm very focused. I do NIST, IRS, CGIS, because all those sits on top of NIST.
So what is your?
I'm an information.
Yeah, go ahead, B-dubs.
Oh, my bad.
No,
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good.
So what I was gonna say is I'm an information security analyst, but I focus in GRC. I do auditing. I do, I'm involved with risk and compliance and all of the fun GRC stuff. But we also have information security analysts on our team that they're not in GRC. So they just call us all the same thing, but we have different duties. So you really have to look at that job description. That's all I was going to say.
And I think B-Dub's correct. You can be a GRC kind of generalist where assessments, you can do assessments. You really can do them from NIST, ISO, HIPAA, and high trust. You can Google most of that and kind of force your way through an assessment. and be pretty good at it. PBO wants to make the exact money that a NIST SME makes. So he wants to be very detailed about what he's going to apply for. Because B-Dub's young. She got about 30 years left. PBO got about 5. He about done.
I don't know about 30 years, PBO.
About five. PBO about done.
I want to retire and have fun while I'm still kind of young, you know?
Yeah, I keep thinking that, but then I start looking at medical needs, and I'm like, yeah, PBO gonna need to work to 67. Now PBO gonna be traveling. He might be on a boat with the laptop, VPN, don't tell nobody, but yeah, PBO gonna need some medical coverage.
Yeah, just make sure there's not any firewall rules preventing you from coming in if you're, you know, out in the middle of the ocean or something.
I always tell people we find out though. We always
PBO is gonna be, you know, on a fishing boat, and he's gonna have a sat phone going off all the time. Hey PBO, I had a question real quick. So, you know, with you know, ID-7, you know. Yeah.
PBO standing, and you know, even though I get a lot of I really don't want to get into, but a lot of guys go outside the country now to date, so I just leave it alone. PBO is trying to get me to go to different countries. I'm like, nah, PBO too old for that. It's not going to Brazil or Taiwan or none of that crazy stuff.
Yeah, I've talked to several people, and like I'll even name drop Space Tacos because she has talked about it on live stream before, but like she's been everywhere, man.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Were we singing
very,
now?
Very inspiring.
Canada. Shout out to Breezy in Canada.
Yeah.
Toronto's on my list.
Had one more note to Space Tacos names for GRC analysts. One that I've seen recently was a data governance analyst. Data governance is like a whole separate field, but it's close enough to security because it's just a minor aspect of it. That was crazy to me. They have a whole subset of certifications you can get in it. And I was like, so is this hand in hand with GRC, or is this like, what are they expecting for that role?
Shout out to Chris and Dwight. That I put that along with privacy. So I think that's the natural progression. Like we went from data to security to compliance. And I think the next piece with GDPR, CCPA, then with the CIPPs and those certifications. So I think privacy with data governance is the next piece of that. Because a lot of people, even though kids put damn near everything on Facebook, but now we're talking about data privacy, I think it's too late. Says the old man, get off my lawn. Go ahead, Chris. Get off my soapbox.
I mean,
get off my lawn.
Just a quick note on that too. You know, you say all the kids put everything on Facebook, but I mean, at least less likely to be buying gift cards. So
facts. But I think, you know, we put a little too much on Instagram. I'm just gonna leave that alone. That's all I'm saying. We're doing a little too much.
Just a little too much.
And I'm gonna say this.
I mean,
I'm gonna put my toe in it. We used to have to pay for that in 1990 that people put on free on Instagram. I'm gonna step out the water and leave it alone.
Disclaimer again.
Yeah, hit me with the disclaimer.
Is not a spokesperson for Study GRC.
Facts.
His words are his and his own life.
Facts. So yeah, we're doing a little too much for the old people on Instagram. That's all I'm gonna say.
I feel like there's a story behind that where you click the wrong link, but
hey, if you have any issues with PBO, there's his YouTube with that QR code right there. You can go get him there.
Yeah, so yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. That's all.
I was talking to my wife. We're expecting our first baby this year.
Oh, congratulations.
And I thought about joking like Parks and Rec reference, showing someone a picture of them and just shredding it. It's like, because I respect their privacy. And like, we don't want to have social media pictures of them up. Like, we've already talked to family that we want to, you know, keep that limited within family and just kind of keep their footprint at the lowest possible. So
that is so rare now. Everybody overdoes it, man. Now with kids and everything. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing.
Bam. I was going to ask you, PBO, why are you reluctant about ISO? Like, through your years, you must have come across it at least a time or two.
We have, and I think once again, I think me being old, I'm gonna call it old people, is ISO was really specifically for Europe. So if you said ISO in the United States, you're thinking, oh my God, you're getting European data. Now, you know, GDPR gonna get us right. So I think people kind of mesh those together. You know, people chime in on that. Chris, what's your thoughts on the old guys? So
I hope you're talking to him.
Chris
I'm sorry, Chris H. My fault, Chris H. Chris H. What's your thought? Because usually when I see ISO, I just specifically think Europe. I didn't even want to mail them or talk about it. It's like, that's European data. If I put that in there, now, GDPR gonna get me, or I'm in some kind of European, privacy sovereignty type thing. So as an old guy, we used to put those together. Chris H. Chime in on that.
Definitely has a basis in Europe. Oh, sorry, B-dubs.
No, go ahead. You go.
Okay. I'll go ahead and spoil that part of the course. So ISO as early as like the 2010s into the 2013, because of the NSA leaks and everything, people stopped trusting US frameworks. So it really got a spike in the US, because now SaaS companies were like, oh, if we want to get a market share anywhere else, we need to get to their standard. And it just kind of stuck. So interesting little like tidbit. That's a fascinating part of that course. Sorry to spoil it, but it's still interesting. But US companies that have any sort of footprint or handle that data, ISO is probably going to come up in conversation at some point, or if they plan on expanding into that geo. So
yeah, but too, especially FedRAMP from the big time Fed DoD, they want all your data in continental United States. So that's one reason you didn't even think about Europe, because they tell you inside NIST, your stuff's got to be CONUS. So we never would even think about ISO, because even if you say ISO, oh my God, my data might end up in Europe and I'm going to get fired. So, I mean, once again, as an old guy, I think obviously that's changing. I think you're correct. I think the deep state, that's all. People fear the deep state in the federal pipeline stuff. People kind of making stuff up. So I think that ISO became more popular at that. But once again, if you hardcore DoD, hardcore Fed, hardcore Treasury, your stuff has to be in CONUS. And once again, when you say ISO, you just leak, but once again, that's the old way of thinking. You just leak to Europe and commingling data. Then you start talking about data sovereignty and data repositories and where you're keeping your data at. So,
yeah. And I think the times I've talked about it, it's like, if you work in Gov, NIST all the way. Working in commercial spaces, I see ISO more, just because it does have an audit. It's kind of putting those bounds on you. So it's like, now we've forced a audit frequency for ourselves. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Chris. You wasn't finished. You paused. You were going. Keep going.
Where you're not like going to be really that regulated in another way, because NIST requires that audit. Like if you're working in federal systems, you have to have that annual audit. ISO is like, well, we don't really have this requirement until we've instilled ISO as our certification. And now we've kind of set our own compliance requirement. So,
but too, I think the good part is, and the bad part about that is, when you deal with global companies, like I used to work for a global company, you went from FedRAMP to ISO to PIPA in Canada, and so you were hitting privacies around the globe, right? So now you got to harmonize that. So once you work for a global company, and I don't know, I might try again, you need to understand all those frameworks and kind of harmonize them. Where's the best place to keep your data? Where you're at risk to not keep data, right? That's if you're actually a global company. So like you said, I think you think a little different. Once again, since I do federal work and most companies I do federal compliance, they kind of just focus on the United States. And once again, when you say ISO, people are like, oh.
Yeah. And I get and I'm sure everyone in the chat feels the same way, getting too many frameworks like in your head. Because I was like, man, I have space for like Pokemon names, and I have space for ISO, and I'm going to start losing something. Like something's got to give. I've got to start dumping out like SpongeBob throwing out filing cabinets or something.
I think for me, that's a good thing about NIST. You can cheat, because if you look at their appendix, they map to everything. So they got the NIST to the ISO mappings. So I just do my NIST and I say, here's my mappings, right? Or NIST, Chris favorite one, NIST 66. Here's my NIST to my HIPAA, right? Yeah. So I always just kind of like, for me, NIST is the base. NIST is my foundation, and I can always map to those different foundations. I've done that before. Another agency says, that's cute. We still want an ISO pure policy, right? So
yeah, they still want that mapping in some way.
Yeah. So that's why I always do NIST, and they got all the mappings, then tells you what missing and kind of filling in. I might put that in the course, map to ISO, then what's missing.
Hey, it better not delay it further.
No, we going on the 4th. It is what it is.
Let's send it.
We going. We're gonna add on to it the rest of the year, but we going. we going.
Yeah, I wanted to also shout out Robin Blake. Thanks for becoming a member there. GRC Mafia. And then also, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here again. We're going to be coming to an end here in a moment. So we're already over our 1 hour. We typically have a 1 hour session every Friday just to socialize and so forth. And we're a little bit over already, but that's fine. I wanted to just shout out. So next Thursday is our job readiness and group resume review. If you want to go ahead and submit that, the best way to do it is through our website here. You click on this little envelope and then you can fill out this form. You can see here, we don't want to collect information unless you want to provide that. Just make sure that it is redacted because it does get sent to VirusTotal. I'll drop the link directly to this form if you guys want to go ahead and submit a redacted resume, and then we'll do a group resume review next Thursday. That's the last Thursday of every single month. And then there was another thing here. And then also AB Showtimes mentions about assistance for a computer, a desktop or laptop. Honestly, in my opinion, and other people can provide a take as well, but I would need more details. Like, do you want a desktop or do you want a laptop? And then also, what is the purpose of it? Because, you know, like the device I use right now is like a $1,200. And then the laptop that I take mobile is like a $300 Dell. So it really depends on the purpose and so forth. And do you want Mac or do you want Linux or do you want Windows? What do you plan to do with it?
Yeah, my 2 cents, and Chris 100%. I just lab in the cloud now. So I used to have multiple servers. If I do a lab, I could put it on a spot instance in AWS and it might cost me $4. So if you're talking about lab and all that, I don't do that on my personal stuff, because you know, if you smoke a VM or mess up your Oracle virtual machine or hypervisor, you can smoke your machine. So I just do all my
on the go.
I just facts. I just do all my stuff in the cloud. Once getting into that helps me get better with AWS, spinning up EC2, spinning up VMs, spinning up containers. So so if you talking about building and practicing, and that's why I'm like, Chris, that's a lot of money. PBO got it, but I don't spend. Like I said, I'll give me a basic laptop. Cause shout out to Space Tacos, cause I'm mostly doing paperwork. They don't even let me touch stuff anymore. I do paperwork all day.
Yeah, all about that paper.
Facts, man. Right in the active voice, like Chris said, you got to get my active voice. I'm right third person in the damn thing. PBO said your network sucks. You have no network segmentation, and you suck.
All right, let's see. All right, perfect. Yeah, and there's a bunch of people in there that can assist with that too. There was another member that was asking that a while back as well, and they were pretty happy with it. Ronnie also mentions with $2,500, go off and get a laptop and a desktop, and that's very, very true actually.
Facts.
So like for me myself, I mean, I could go off and get both of those of mid-tier for that price. So, but it really depends on purpose too, because like that cheap Dell laptop that I take everywhere, I like it because it's light, it's plastic, and if it breaks, I don't care. So that's what I travel with. But I can still do everything in the browser. I was streaming from that every time I've been remote. So yeah, definitely depends on purpose. And then there's this longer message here from Discord. Decided on ISO because of the international presence, and they were a US based company. We did a map back to NIST due to some of the requirements we faced in the US, mainly due to work with the DHS. The company was set on having a consistent, and then it cuts off.
I read it. Consistent control set across all companies so it worked out and allowed the group to speak on language and have roll-up reports. Not saying it was the right move, just how they saw things and decided on a framework. That's not a bad framework, but for me, you're not gonna give me an ISO policy for a NIST control and a NIST assessment. But once again, PBO, he's not very nice talking in the third person. But
yeah, PBO throws punches.
Facts.
Yeah, thunder punch.
I'm gonna write it all up and say it is not a NIST policy. PBO's not mapping them. So you got to make it super easy for me. If you're gonna do that, you got to make it real easy for me.
Yeah. On the note on there too, I think what they were getting at, since they were US based, they had to attest that within a ISO certification, you have to have the scope of the locations that are applied under it.
Facts.
So they have to present like, hey, all of these locations have been tested to the same level of requirements.
Well, if you don't have your data in there, would you still have to test it? Kind of like PCI, B-dubs. We make that 70 miles, so PCI is only this mile. So if you know we got 40 other locations, ain't no PCI data. So would they have to look at the other 40K?
Yeah, it would be risk based. Yeah, so your high risk areas or where your data is housed, for your company, like you may have, they're not going to evaluate, say, like your AWS over there, but they would evaluate like, hey, we have development presence here, we have data here. This is like a core business function area, so you have to put those within your scope for your ISMS to account for it.
Even if I'm not running any European data through it, I'll still have to put it in scope?
Yeah, it would be whatever, like for your business, it would be part of your scope if you want it certified under your ISO 27001. Okay. So,
because usually where I work is whatever certifications, we trying to keep that area small, right? To keep, number one, to keep our attack surface small, and number two, to keep our assessment small. Now, you're right. Now, if it's part of the business we're doing for that government agency, being Europe or that, but we try to keep that small to keep our audit small. So.
Yeah, like doing vendor assessments, they would send me their ISO 27001, and like they may have gone through like a merger or something, and they'll send me it, and they're like, I think this is what you need, and then I'm like, oh, this doesn't even cover like the service that we're buying. Yeah. So then you have to turn around and say like, hey, have y'all like gone through and like enveloping them under your ISMS or updating your certification? You have to go through a whole approval process with your audit firm. So
yeah, because especially on third party, a lot of times that's why I'm where my man at. That's why I'm not a big SOC 2 type 2, because when you start asking them questions, I'm like, dude, you didn't even cover the stuff where my data's flowing through, right? So
everything's out of scope. And
yeah, but a lot of people, I see a lot of young auditors say, oh, we're good. They got the SOC 2 or the ISO. I'm like, dude, where's our data? Did they send you scope? And what databases are is it touching? Where are they holding it at? But once again, I'm old and grumpy. Shout out to me. Give myself a shout out. Happy Friday to me. Shout out to me.
Happy Friday, PBO.
I appreciate
Happy Friday, everybody.
Shout out to my man Cyber Cycle. Are you on a boat, man? What you doing over there, man?
Yeah, right.
You on a boat? What
I
you
wish
got
I
going?
was on a boat.
Yeah, I am on a boat.
Okay.
Wow.
Where you in Florida? It's kind of a little nippy in Indiana. Where you at?
No, it's North Georgia. It's Lake Lanier. It's the largest lake in the South, so it's pretty big.
Georgia's pretty warm year round. Y'all get a few cold hits, but y'all pretty warm year round.
Way to just go off and dox him there, PBO.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, my bad. He could have declined. I'm bad. Yeah. I guess I'll be throwing out my location. I don't care.
There's more out there than anybody ever knows, so I'm not worried about that.
Yeah,
you're paranoid.
Exactly.
Yeah, I work for Fed. I've been hacked. Seriously, I've been hacked about 6 times from federal accounts.
I will say this though, but y'all remember a couple breaches. Marine Max, they're a big, boating outfitter. So our information, because we did a deal with them a couple years ago, well, my information was part of that 123,000 record breach. And so I received something yesterday. So there's a cash settlement situation being built up, which that's the first time outside of that, the insulting 3 years of credit monitoring, which is about $300. So basically they've got a law firm and all these people have gotten together. So they're going to do a cash out kind of thing. So I'm looking into that because I called them up. I was mad as hell about it because I'm like, look, dude, we did a favor for you so you can make your quote, even though we were cash paying customers, just to help you with your loan kind of. They got a lot of details with it. These guys, they got to do certain number of loans and stuff, to continue their credit, just like a dealership. So anyways, we did that as a favor. And then, so I called them and gave them a hard time about it. And they sent me a thing from this lawyer's office. So we'll see what happens. So for the people, man.
That's cool.
It's funny. Well, I feel like I feel like the only thing that's going to happen with you being doxxed right now, worst case scenario, you're going to have some people coming up wanting to hang out on the boat with you.
Come on up. We got plenty of room.
Right.
Plenty of room.
I feel like that's going to be worst case scenario right now. I want to come to the lake.
People don't do a lot of water yet. I don't know.
It's awesome. Oh, this boat ain't sinking. There's no way this boat is sinking.
Yeah, and I also want to mention, so what's my name.app? If you guys think that you guys have good privacy and so forth out there, go play around on that website.
No, I'm toast.
So,
hey, you look up my real name and you found out I died 2 years ago. So.
Oh, wow.
I'm not even going to go into that one right now.
My name is the same as a guy that was a Broadway actor for a real long time. And apparently he had some severe depression issues and he killed himself. But yeah, same exact name, up and down, don't look the same, but yeah, it was,
I mean, hey,
anywhere you look, it's that way.
Yeah. One of my cousins had bad credit, so I used to get credit cards a lot. I'm like, our names aren't the same, it's close. So and I'm 20 years older than him. Did you kind of look at the date of birth? So
that's when you got to use that middle initial, PBO.
I don't have a middle initial. I'm doxing myself. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you don't have one, or you're not providing it.
I do not have one.
I mean, hey,
I do not have one.
Yeah, and then I think. So Rania also mentioned talking about a single computer. Oh yeah, so I had mentioned like a $450 refurb server off of Amazon with like 256 gigabytes of DDR4. Yeah. I mean, you could run that as a standard desktop too. You don't have to run it as a server. Just saying. I'm very likely going to go through and do an option similar to that because, like, why not?
Why not?
Then yes, 8-Bit is 100% his own cloud. That is the first individual that I've met that is so gun-ho on self-host. Yeah. He's indirectly turning himself into a cloud provider. So
his own provider. He's not providing for anyone else, but
true. But
that's called self-provisioning. So
yeah, there you go.
I don't know. I might have to hit him up on some cloud space though.
Yeah, but we are about 14 minutes over so far. We still want to respect everybody's time. People also are coming off of lunch and so forth. Cybercycle, the last remarks? Anything to add?
Just everybody have a good weekend.
Bam.
About it. Yeah.
Let's go. Shout out to Chris H. Trying to get my ISO up. Chris H. Almost convincing me. I'm working on that course, man. About to jump back up.
ISO's about to make some money.
Yeah. I've been tired.
One other thing. Congratulations to Hidalgo and his wife for their is that a newborn? I don't heard part of that, but congratulations.
Later this year, but yeah, thank you so much.
Okay. That's when life begins.
Yeah. Or ends, depending on how.
Some things just put on hold for a little bit. That's all.
All about
he's over there sweating now.
No, it's all
We've been on cloud 9, but also scared. So, that typical parent.
You should be.
Understand.
No, you'd be fine. If PBO could do it at a young age, man, I had good guidance from my mom. You gonna do great. I went way too early, man. You had a good point in your life. You super mature. My kid had kids. So I'm a granddaddy. So
nice.
My oldest is in college. My oldest granddaughter is in college. So I just cashed out her some money. She's trying to go out this weekend. So shout out to me. Shout out to Granddaddy. Shout out to Granddaddy PBO.
Definitely catch PBO on Tuesday nights on his channel. I'm dropping that in chat. And then Chris, final remarks?
Yeah. It's been great getting to talk about ISO and getting more people into it. I wanted to mention thing on the labs, and if anyone had any questions on Discord, I gather junk. So I made like the PC I'm on right now is like a $40 HP mini PC, and it works okay. It's running Ubuntu, and if you have any questions on like slapping together a lab, reach out to me. So,
bam. Yep. B-dubs.
So I've officially signed up now for that ISO 27001 lead auditor course from Mastermind that is free, as well as during this session, I joined or signed up for the DevSecOps course finally from Chad Butler. So I'll be doing that as well. Looking forward to the CISSP study group tomorrow. Come hang out with me at 3 p.m. Central Time. That's what time it is. Yeah, other than that, new blog coming on Monday. I'm not busy at all.
Bam.
Bam.
Yeah, GRC Mafia. Thank you all for joining us today. We did go a little bit over, but awesome conversation topics and so forth. You guys have a great weekend. Catch you guys in Discord. Next Thursday is pretty big with our job readiness and group resume review. Definitely get those in if you'd like to submit your redacted resume. And then also we'll continue that CSF 2.0 assessment starting on Monday. So that'll be, I believe, video 4 in regards to that one. And we'll continue that the rest of the month. This week, and you can also look forward to seeing the rest of the schedule for next month up on our calendar as well. I'll catch you guys in Discord. I'll drop that real quick and enjoy your guys' weekend.